Let's talk about Cassie. Okay, I know we're all sick of talking about Cassie, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Nearly everyone watching Euphoria seems to have the same opinion on Cassie, no matter where she's talked about. She's a terrible person, a traitor, a coward, a loose woman. Let's get this out of the way. Cassie's definitely not in the right, not at the point in the show where she is now. But let's backtrack a little and try to figure out why she has made all the bad decisions she did and how her psyche has evolved or devolved with the progression of the show. Cassie's relationship with men has been rocky from an early age. She saw her dad flirt with many women in front of her mother and even attributed it to his inability to help himself. This made Cassie develop the mindset that men are inherently incapable of staying put and are always looking for the next distraction. To Cassie, there was nothing she wanted more than to receive her father's love, yet she was constantly denied it and kept having to chase it. The result was never going to change, and her father became addicted to drugs after his accident and inevitably left, or, as Cassie said, stopped calling. However, what he left her with was an internal overflowing desire to find that fatherly love in whoever may give it to her. She turned into a codependent woman who needed a man to give her love for her to be happy. This easily becomes toxic, as when Cassie doesn't receive the emotional response she craves, she spirals downward into a loop of craving validation and losing herself as she searches for that love she can never find. As we may all jokingly agree, Cassie has a severe case of daddy issues. Her issues with men were not just sparked by her father. It was made clear that Cassie began developing body-wise very early and started receiving unhealthy amounts of sexual attention from her family friends and even relatives. She was, in a way, groomed into feeling like her body gave her worth. As she got older and began engaging in sexual activity, Cassie continued to crave male attention and love. Combined with her pre-instilled realization of her body's desirability, her intense desire for love made her allow constant degradation from men who would initially use her body, then begin filming her and even spreading it through her school. But for Cassie, it was okay. She thought she was being loved by each one of them. When McKay came along, Cassie was finally being treated with some respect. McKay actually wanted to talk to her and get to know her, not just have sex with her. She wasn't used to that, so they would run into problems where she would try to use her body to fix his emotional issues, but it only aggravated him because he knew about her promiscuous past and couldn't get past that. McKay could never fully respect her, and that was the downfall of their relationship. Eventually, Cassie got pregnant and had an abortion. That was the last straw for them, and Cassie decided to move on with a fresh mindset and become independent. However, she was never mentally ready. Enter Nate. Nate saw Cassie, and he knew how internally broken she was. Being the manipulative person he is, he made the quick decision to take advantage of her being drunk and sad to gratify his desires. Let's not forget, one of the main reasons Cassie and McKay broke up was because Nate continuously bashed Cassie in front of McKay, calling her loose and easy. He was 100% aware of how simple it would be to take advantage of Cassie. And Cassie fell for it. Hard. She knew Nate was abusive and her best friend's ex. She knew how morally wrong it was for her to be with Nate, and that's exactly why she fell into his trap. To her, it wasn't just Nate giving her attention. It was Maddie's ex-boyfriend risking himself to be with her. And anyone who craves male validation as much as Cassie knows exactly how easy it is to go crazy wanting the attention of a toxic man. So, not only did Cassie fall for her best friend's ex, she fell for a guy who knew exactly how to have her wrapped around his pinky. And, being the way she is, Cassie slowly began to let Nate control her mind, from how she dressed herself, to how she spent her time, to taking hours in the morning to get ready for him to see even an ounce of validation. It's not that she wanted to hurt Maddie. She knew how bad it was for her to be doing all of this. It was clear that during Maddie's birthday party, she was feeling incredibly guilty. But to someone this deep into daddy issues and the search for love from an extremely toxic person, Cassie couldn't give up on Nate and go back to being Maddie's best friend. In her obsessive mind, Maddie was already not a priority for a long time. In fact, what Maddie became to Cassie was a source of both inspiration and jealousy. Cassie knew that Nate would always love Maddie, so she began to copy Maddie in her makeup style and her clothing. Only then did Nate even give her any attention, and it was only for a few seconds to show a disgusted expression. But to Cassie, that was a victory. Anyone in a toxic relationship, whether in the past or currently, knows the vicious cycle of love bombing followed by denial and anger. No matter how much you try to fight it, if you have a weak will and pre-existing inferiority complex, you will let this cycle take over your life. Nothing will matter as much anymore. Not friends, family, or education. The only thing taking up your thoughts 24/7 is that person. That person whose affection you crave so much and yet receive so little of. And Cassie, with her low self-worth and extreme daddy issues, easily descended into this cycle. Of course, Maddie's feelings were no longer important to her. The only person whose opinion mattered at all was Nate. And even after Maddie found out about Cassie and Nate and vulnerably cried about her feelings of betrayal, Cassie couldn't bring herself to apologize or even admit that she was wrong. The only thing that she needed was Nate. The play did a great job of showing what Cassie's inner mentality was. Although she loved Maddie and was friends with her for a long time, all it took was one toxic man to crash it all down. And really, all that shows is how mentally weak Cassie is. She isn't independent like Maddie or smart like Lexi. Her feelings of self-worth boil down to her body and ability to keep the man and the love that he gives her. Even if her choice was Nate and it was the worst choice she could make, Cassie still decided to live with her choice and devote her life to loving and being loved. She would give control of everything in her life to the man as long as he gave her what she really wanted and craved, love. In the scene where Lexi and Cassie are in the car with their father while he was high, Lexi is crying from fear and sadness, but Cassie is in the front seat with a look of resolve, allowing her life to be handled by the man she won't allow herself to leave, even against her own well-being. And this is how she became with Nate, disregarding her own well-being and morality, to be shown affection from someone who will never be as obsessed with her as she is with him. But Nate broke up with her during the play. Funny how much she gave up for him, and he threw it all out the window like it was nothing. So now, Cassie lost her best friend, the man she threw everything away for, and her dignity, in front of her whole school. Where does she go from here? My hope for Cassie is that she matures, apologizes, and stops putting her entire self-worth into the hands of toxic men. She is beautiful and kind, but too easily taken advantage of. The best thing for Cassie is to gain independence and self-confidence without it being associated with a man. But will that happen? We'll have to wait until season 3 to find out. Thank you to everyone who watches this, and if you enjoyed it, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe. Anything helps. My name is Irene, and thank you for your time.